Hey Kylie, it's Caleb here, and spoke with your dad earlier today, and he was saying you're playing more as an attacking midfielder and as a striker, and just sort of trying to figure out where to be on the field sometimes when your team's moving the ball, advancing up the field, and just trying to find the right position. So, quite normal questions when you move into 11v11. So what I'm going to do is have a quick video here to show you where to be when you're an attacking midfielder and some simple ways to move while you're on the field and create space, find the ball, and play that way. So firstly, let's get started on the role of an attacking midfielder. Your role is basically to link your defenders and two central midfielders here that you can see on the screen. Link them. You're the player in black here. Your job is to try and create space in the attacking half where possible and receive the ball and face forward. So when you face forward here, so if I spin you around, now you should be able to get this player involved if he's making a run inside, or the opposite guy if he's making a run inside, or your striker as well, who might peel off and you play the ball through. By the same token, you may play the ball out wide, and then you need to get forward and you get to play almost as a second striker, which can be quite fun because you get to score goals as well as set them up. So it's quite a good position. So here we go. If you look at your right back here, this guy, he has the ball. Normally, the ball will circle from one side of the field to the other as it sort of advances up. And then your players in return kind of open up. This guy will come into here. This guy might drop underneath, and this player tucks in. And so where does this player go, the attacking midfielder? The easiest way to play attacking midfielder is to find space. So if you see the line of the ball here, and where would the space be? There's some space in there. There's some space in the front. So as far forward as possible, where you can get a realistic chance to find the ball. So this would be a good little spot for you to run into. So if you run into there, your starting position's here, you know this guy checks towards the ball. He may not want to play it. You run into the space created, and now the ball's into you. When that happens, you face forward, and you have your options. Can you play this man who runs inside or stays out wide? Do you switch the play to the guy that might be running through? Do you dribble yourself and go at the man? There's many different ways. So that's one way of finding space. Now, if your whole team's on this side of the field and you're playing out from the back, let's say that you've just defended something in front of the goal, per se here, and then you have your defenders that drop in like so, and you're all behind the ball. And then your striker comes back, and maybe now the ball is here. Again, the same thing applies even if you're in this half. Can you play, let them be occupied with your striker, wherever your striker is, and then you play in these roles underneath the striker. So again, you don't want to really get all the way out wide because then you're so far removed from the center of the game. Let these guys here do that running for you. But if, let's say, this guy comes towards the ball and you're in some pressure situation where you need to get rid of the ball, now it may be okay for you to make that run and the ball will be played long and then you can get out of pressure. So that's an instance when you can kind of get out wide and then sort of hold up the ball. But if they do have the ball in here, the same thing applies. Where's the space? The space for you is here. What you don't want to do is you don't want to come dropping back so that you guys are all in a straight line because that's not doing anything. One defender can kind of be around all three of you. You want to make sure now that you're in the space. Now you have a triangle to play. So if you have somebody on you, you can drop the ball off and then you move out wide. But again, there's the space. Now if the ball switches to the other side, again, you may want to drift into the middle and the ball can find you in the middle. That guy moves on and then you're out of pressure. So that is some basic examples of playing in your own half. Now we can look at playing further up the field in the attacking half, if we're all in the attacking half. So again, your midfielders would push up, your wide player is obviously in the attack, and your back four now are higher up the field. And I'll put him in the right spot. And here we are. So now we have the ball. So again, the game usually works like this. You shift the ball side to side to try and open up gaps in the opposite team. So now the ball is moving around. The same thing applies. If this guy comes towards the ball, you try and find the space in these areas. Sometimes if this guy comes short and you know that there's going to be space in there, you can make a running behind and the ball's played in. And again, you're usually somewhere in between the 18-yard box, not too far out wide. Majority of your job is going to be sort of in this general area here. That's kind of your width. That's another example as to how you can get in behind the defense. Now, if the ball is played between these three players, and then let's say he comes, he receives the ball, overlapping run, the ball's played in behind. You know your striker's going to make a run. Now you need to get into the box, and then the opposite wide player gets into the box. So when we did our attacking at the academy, you guys worked on 3 different runs into the box. Obviously, you don't all want to be 3 in a line because one ball misses all. You have a first post run, then you have somebody on the penalty spot, and then you have somebody at the back post in between you two. And that's where you would be. 9 times out of 10, you'd be on the penalty spot or you'll be sort of at the top of the area. So when the ball's played in, you have a chance to score as well. So just remember that you're always trying to find the space to play in. That's the best way to explain it for you. The easiest way to remember. I'm going to put out another team here quickly before we close out the video just to give you another realistic idea as where to be. So just give me 2 seconds here. And I'm going to put them all in yellow. Just give me a second. Put them all out. In there, and just let me build this up for you. This will be the easiest way. And they play usually the same sort of way. And then you'll have your striker up top, and then they have the 2 kind of wide players out wide. So if you're in the black here, so they got their back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got their 2 center midfielders or holding midfielders, however they want to play. Attacking midfielder, striker, 2 wide players. When the ball starts to circle, sometimes what you'll find is these guys kind of stay together and they just let the ball circulate left and right. So let's say now the ball's with this center back. It comes around the opposite way. Now this guy would try and get involved. So now they might play the ball into here. And usually when that happens, these guys would come across and try and keep the game on this half of the field. So when that happens, this guy can move inside. And if he does move inside, normally this player would be behind him. And so if we ask you where's the space right now, the space would be into there. So again, you can get that ball and you can get in behind that way. So that's one way to get the ball. Now if these guys are staying off and they don't, and this is a clear pass to him, no problem. Your objective now is to work with your striker to find space. So usually if the ball's in this area, the striker's going to move across, and these defenders are going to tell this midfielder to try and block that passing lane. So as he does that, or he moves across, now you try and receive the ball underneath, which would mean this guy would be forced to come across. But try not to come this deep into here, because now you're in front of everybody. So when you take your touch, you're actually touching it, and then you still have to break this kind of imaginary line that would be right here. If you can, stay in behind and just open up the lane and have confidence in your teammate that they can play you the ball. So when they play you the ball now and you go forward, let's look at what happens. These 2 guys, 1 and 2, they're basically out of the game. He's also out of the game. So now you've got 2v2 in the middle here, and you've got a wide guy that's isolated. So it can be your chance to dribble. You can go forward with the ball and shoot, or this guy may run, forces him over, you still dribble, and then you shoot. So again, all this comes from finding the right space. And 9 times out of 10, your areas of space, I'll put it in red here, are going to be in these little channels like so. into here, into here, into here, and then you can also find your little pockets in between. So you're just trying to find space wherever possible for you to move into and receive the ball in behind these two players as much as possible. And if you do come deep, and I'll just get rid of this here for you. If you do come deep and you have to get on the ball, that's fine. Just swing the ball straight out the opposite way, and then you start to move. You start to move forward and allow these guys to come over and support. Everybody moves in a little bit. He moves across, and then it's up to you. If your striker again finds space in these pockets, then you just take his position in behind. So now he may let the ball slide straight through. So again, this is just a little video to help you out to kind of understand your role. But what you definitely do not want to do is start coming deep and get on the ball down in these deep areas, because that really takes you out of the game. And then you guys kind of end up playing with three people here, a striker alone by himself, and two isolated wide people. So when the ball gets played long, if it does get knocked long, now he's isolated all by himself with 1, 2, 3, 4 people. And if you count the outside there, there's 6 against one lone guy. If you're up top, then you can kind of support him. He can lay the ball off, or they can find you, and then you can get everybody else into the game. So you don't want to be deep. You always want to sort of stay just behind your striker. But obviously when you're defending as well, just quickly, if the other team has the ball, your shape's more or less going to be like so. So I'll delete this out. The other team's constructing the play with the ball here. You're always going to be in these positions. Again, into here. So wherever their defensive midfielder is, you're kind of applying that pressure. This man moves forward. These guys move forward. And then your two midfielders need to get together. Because if you mark this man, then obviously these guys are going to try and make runs. And if they do make runs and he moves into there, then this guy would need to step forward, and then this guy would block the passing lanes to make sure he doesn't get the ball. So everybody has a man. When the ball goes back, depending on what your coach wants and how you guys press, maybe you can press a little bit more. These guys start to step up because he's no longer a threat. He can be taken. Now you guys can force them to play the ball long. But again, that comes from your coach. But anyway, that's a brief explanation where to be with and without the ball. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this is helpful for you.